everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower. So I took a look at this Catan 3D edition. This is a big version of the Catan game. It's a remake of the old wooden one, and I took a look at this. This is not a product for everybody. This is a product for people who really like Catan and want a beautiful coffee table version of it. Well, now I'm taking a look at the expansion for that. I mean, think about that. If you get both of these, this is how much room it's going to take on your shelf. But Catan has had many, many expansions. But the first two expansions, and probably the most popular two, are Seafarers of Catan and Cities of Knights of Catan. Now, these both change the game pretty dramatically. You don't really mix them. The Seafarers of Catan adds an ocean, allows you to put ships that connect to your roads. It makes grain a more useful resource from the original game. And all around, it just adds a few rules, pretty much the same game. Cities of Knights adds a lot more complexity, lets you upgrade buildings. You have a little notebook where you'll flip through these different buildings. There are barbarians that attack you, and you need to have knights prepared to defend against them. It's a very different, more complex game. Some people swear by it, say you cannot play Catan without it. Others are not as fond of it, I being one of those. But either way, both these expansions are in this box. So I'm not really reviewing those. You can go check out. I've written reviews on these a long time ago. But what I'm doing here is I'm just going to show you what comes in this mega box and then a little bit of how it looks, and that's it. Okay, so I've taken off the sleeve, and this is the box itself. So inside the box, so this is kind of a weird thing. I don't know if I love this. We have the rules for Seafarers, and then on the other side are the Cities and Knights rules. So they're halfway in the book, sandwiched in between an ad of by Starfarers. The rules for Seafarers aren't very much. If you've ever seen that one, it just has some new stuff in it. Cities and Knights, there's much more rules, although there's about the same number of pieces. And then there's an appendix for each one. And again, they do that same flipping. That's fine, I guess. I guess it makes it easier to see. But let's take a look here at what's in the box. So, this is a seaboard, which I just thrown onto the floor. But these are actually nice plastic. This is used only for Cities and Knights. Along with these city improvement books, some nice little things here, whereas you increase these, and these are going to be torn apart here because you don't have to flip the whole book. This I'm a little nervous about. You have to be really careful taking these apart as you flip through. It's a little tricky as you go through each page at a time. I don't like that those were attached together. All right, here we have the die and a little wagon, which is kind of shaded. This is done. That's some nice coloring. These look great. These are all the boards for Seafarers with fish. The fish are fine there, although I gotta say, not a fan of this. If you're gonna pay this much money, why couldn't they make the fish like a slightly different pattern? I guess they wanted to produce the same piece over and over again. Speaking of producing the same piece over and over again, we got some more of the original tiles. This is for Seafarers for some of the bigger campaigns. And there are even just straight sea tiles here that are going to go in the game. Underneath these city improvements, by the way, are all the new cards. These are not good card wells. I don't know why companies think this is a good idea. However, I think you just put them in here in the new card decks. That's probably where they want them to go. The card quality is fine, but these are the cards for Cities and Knights. Here's all the new pieces. Each person's going to have knights now, and you'll be able to upgrade your knights. And in fact, here's the ships for Seafarers. Some gold coins. These are a little cheap plastic. They're okay. But as you have these knights, I mean, whew, look at these knights. These are I like how these guys look a lot. These look pretty good. Some more cards, but there's a little, where did I put them? Over in here. There's the white ones. With these little helmets. So these are actually some pretty teeny weeny pieces. But this shows how you get a knight ready by putting a helmet on it. Maybe you should put the helmet on forward. That's kind of cool, but that is a tiny little piece for such a big, grandiose production. So that's kind of what's in this box. It's a bunch of tiles and stuff. I will say there's a bit of wasted space, especially as there's a bunch of tiles, that there's a whole sheet of tiles to punch out, and they didn't really have a good place to put them. But let's take a look now. We're going to combine it with the original 3D game for a seafarer scenario and see how it all looks when you put it together. There you go. This really does look good though, doesn't it? So the original board comes with the original 3D board. I think the sea looks a little nicer, and you can still use those pieces. They fit kind of intermittently here. So let's pop out this corner one here and put this one in its place so that you can see. I really like these better. I'm surprised they didn't do that. I think that they bring it all together rather than having these C ones. But then again, I think part of that is just so you can mix and match them if you want to. You can put land on some sides and just put C on the other sides. But it all fits together. It looks really well. Again, I'm not reviewing Seafarers or Cities and Knights. I'm a big fan of Seafarers. I think it adds a nice little edge to the game. Lets you make some cool maps like this. I think Cities and Knights adds too much to the game. But that's what's in these, folks. So there you go. Should you get this? That's completely up to you. If you own this, that does not mean you're going to want to get this. That is doubling your price, right? But if you do like playing Seafarers, I almost wish they had cut this in half, right? And just had Seafarers. Although Seafarers is a vast majority of this box. So I guess they're thinking, if we're going to give Seafarers, we might as well throw in Cities and Knights too. Then again, some of you, I mean, this does add to the replayability of this a lot. Catan is a pretty basic game. To have a big mega box like this, now you have lots of things in here. Like I showed you that map. That map is one of the, or very similar to one of the scenarios that's in the box, and you can go out to discover different islands and things like that. But then you can play Cities and Knights. So this kind of does that, but it does so again in a grandiose way. This is for huge fans of the base game. So you need the base game to get this. I don't know where I stand on this. I don't know that I don't like Catan enough where I would get this. I have this in the Dice Tower library because I think some people might want to play a fun game of Catan. I don't think I'm going to add these expansions because, well, that takes up too much space. Although, for me, if I was playing Catan, I'd want to play with at least Seafarers. I think Seafarers adds a whole point to Catan. And Cities and Knights, some people are, again, big fans of that. It's gorgeous. But at the end of the day, the choice of whether to get this is up to you. I don't think I would have this in my house. I don't know that I could afford the money or the space. But if you can, and you love Catan, then, well, this is something to consider. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time on the Dice Tower.